getting you up and getting your sports day started.
I mean, I could wear a good-looking suit, and I could speak eloquently on his behalf.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
And then you'll take your remote and you'll push the button.
Okay.
And then magically the game will appear.
From Double T 97.3.
I'm about 5 minutes or so behind today, maybe 10.
Oh, yeah?
So if I'm a little more off than usual, I don't know why. My motor's just running about 10 minutes behind today. Okay. I got to get caught up, and I'm gonna.
Good luck.
Try to do that throughout the morning on your time. Okay, with me.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll try to get it figured out for you.
We'll try to get that figured out. Still more news about the Pac-12 eventual collapse. Big Ten considering further expansion. Big 12 interest looms. That's the headline from this CBS Sports article. Okay. So the Big Ten apparently is pursuing California, Oregon, depending on how you pronounce it, Stanford, and Washington. Okay. The thing that they're doing, though, is Kevin Warren, who's the Big Ten commissioner, is looking for money from Amazon as a way to justify this, okay? Or potentially another partner for additional Big Ten football media rights, okay? This article written by Dennis Dodd, the number is believed to be less than $100 million annually. In that likelihood, if the Big 12 is able to get some kind of combination of Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, then that would leave Oregon State and Washington State looking for a home.
Okay.
So if that happens, one source is being quoted as saying, if that Big Ten move happens, I think the other 4 Pac-12 schools will want to jump to the Big 12.
You would think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, it's funny because if I were the Big Ten, I guess those are the 4 I would take. I don't know about California. That's the only one that I was like, but maybe that's better. That's better than maybe Colorado or Utah, because then that would be some natural travel partners for Stanford and Washington and USC and UCLA. If you had Cal in there as well.
For the Big 12?
No, for the Big Ten.
For the Big 10.
Yeah.
I feel like they would fit there better than they would in the Big 12.
Yeah. I was just thinking, would you rather have California or Utah is what I was.
In the Big 12?
No, in the Big 10.
Okay. All right.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, that's they're taking California because and that would kind of help the California legislature and their board of regents that have written a letter, basically saying, please don't take us, please don't take UCLA away from us. But it's going to happen. I mean, it's already happened. I mean, they've got the moving vans there.
Do you think they did it in 80s R&B style? Like with the harmonics and everything? Or do you think they just sent a nice little letter?
Well, I think it was a letter on
See, that's where they messed up. They should have sent a song.
On Pac-12 letterhead.
I'm confused.
80s all the 80s songs, please don't go and, don't take them. She's, all of that for the 80s late hip hop. That would have gotten the job done.
I mean, I enjoy 80s hip hop way more than I do a letter. I mean, if I was to go to my mailbox today and I opened it up and there were 2 options, a letter or, I just started jamming 80s hip hop, I think I would enjoy my mailbox more that way.
Now, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't it be something if you could just have a chip that you could just pay your bills right there at the mailbox?
That'd be cool.
Or maybe if we just eliminated the U.S. Postal Service and
why are we not doing that?
Well, just nobody opens their mail anyway, so just why are we delivering it?
We open our mail.
Do you? Okay, of course you do. Yeah, you're the Linz.
Well, why would you open the mail?
We open our mail too. I was just trying to be sarcastic.
Don't you have to get your bills out to pay them?
Yeah,
or?
right. Yeah, you do. You do. Somebody says this with regard to the 11 a.m. kickoff thing that I spent 5 minutes on. Boy, that's a whole lot to say that the coach got to pick the game time. You must be new here because word economy is not something I really excel at. Plus, it is a 3-hour show. Just keep that in mind. It's a 3-hour program.
3-hour tour.
Paul,
3-hour tour.
Paul says this is we're rubbing off on you because now you're in the Gilligan's Island mode. Wow, I'm concerned for you, Jamie. Paul says this is the news reporting we like. Thank you. Yeah, we're here. We're here. Bullfighter says R.I.P. Coolio. How about that? Coolio dead at 59.
Coolio passed away last night?
Yeah. Well, yesterday.
Oh, man, yesterday? Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the
natural causes or
59. I don't. They found.
Well, I
him,
mean, I guess.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it. I mean, nobody shot him. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I was wondering, did he have a heart attack or did he?
They have not released the
sometimes young people
circumstances yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that he had passed away.
Autopsy and toxicological tests will be used to determine an official cause of death. But law enforcement did tell TMZ, your trusted news source, no drugs or drug paraphernalia were found at the scene.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay. Apparently there was a medical emergency. They were called to his house, and they pronounced Coolio dead at the scene. Okay. Went to the bathroom, didn't come out. And they found him laying on the floor. So it's too bad.
That is too bad.
So no more Coolio. 6:37. Well, his songs will still be there. I mean, they're not going to erase his songs or anything like that, but there won't be any new ones. Coolio.
There will not be any new ones.
Unless
you say that. There's still a new album from Tupac, I feel like, every other year. So.
Yeah. Maybe somebody will have something recorded from Coolio that now that he's deceased, they'll pass that along to him. I saw this, and we don't talk a whole lot of NBA on purpose, but this just cried so much ridiculousness that it caught my attention. The headline I thought was really cool. Ja Morant says he will gift his Grizzlies teammates Rolex watches with new NBA contract. Okay? He is in his 4th year in the NBA. He signed a record-breaking contract extension this offseason. He said one of his goals with the new money is to buy Rolex watches. His deal is 5 years, $193 million. Could be $231 million if he makes an All-NBA team. He's going to buy his teammate watches. He was asked when. He said this is where it gets ridiculous. It's just a matter of time. My bread got to kick in first. I'm still broke next year when I get my money. It's not like they're paying him chicken squat this year.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you got? 12 guys on the team, 15 guys on the team. Rolex watch. I don't know. I've never priced them, but my guess is around $1,000 a piece, probably. You can get good ones even probably for more than that. Really good ones.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah. Probably $5,000 a piece or whatever.
Probably.
You know?
Yeah.
But
it's the same Mr. Morant that was very vocal to disband all law enforcement. Yeah, forgive me if I care very little if he's buying people watches or not.
No, I know. I just thought it was. Thought it was
once you say something like that, you're just pretty much anything else that comes out of your mouth. Who cares?
Yeah, my bread got to kick in first. I'm still broke. No, you're not. You're not broke.
Big plays and even bigger laughs. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is the 29th day of September. Remember, there's only 30 days in September, along with April, June, and November. Okay?
Okay.
We've already had April. We've already had June. We got September tomorrow, and then we got November the month after next. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
1914. Boston Braves, who were in last place in the middle of July, clinch the NL pennant.
Wow.
1920, Yankee slugger Babe Ruth sets the then Major League home run season record of 54 with a ninth-inning shot off Dave Keefe in New York's 7-3 win over the Philadelphia A's.
Keefe. That long ago, 54 was the record.
Yes.
And 54, still an amazing feat. 50. If you had 50 home runs in a season, I mean, you had a great, amazing year. That's pretty crazy. Babe was doing it that long ago.
7 years later, in 1927, Babe Ruth ties the Major League record by hitting grand slams in consecutive games in New York's 7-4 win against the Philadelphia A's, and then a 15-4 rout of the Washington Senators. 1947, former Yankee manager Joe McCarthy signs to manage the Boston Red Sox. And he was forever banished from New York. 1954, Willie Mays' famous over-the-shoulder catch of Vic Hertz's 460-foot drive during Game 1 of the World Series.
You know what's crazy is when you see the film of that, you see all the people in the stands wearing short-sleeve white shirts and black and ties that were at the ball game. It's littered with them.
See, what I think about that is the 460-foot drive would have been out of every Major League Baseball park today.
And it's not a home run.
And
right?
it's not a home run there.
That's right.
Barely got to the warning track.
It would be one of those that you look up and don't even move. 460-foot home runs today.
That's a good point.
1963, Cardinals celebrate Stan Musial Day in St. Louis. His final game where he hits his 3,629th and 30th total hits. One of them went yard for 475. 1966, Sandy Koufax did Sandy Koufax things. Pitched his third 300 strikeout season. 1969, Steve O'Neill of the New York Jets put his boot into it. Kicks an NFL punt for the longest NFL punt ever, 98 yards versus the Denver Broncos.
Getting after it.
1976, Tommy Lasorda replaces Walter Allison as the Los Angeles Dodgers manager. That went well.
Yeah, Walter Alston had his deal was always 1 year. He had 1 year. He had 25 one-year contracts.
It's odd.
I know. That's just the way that the Dodgers did it.
Yeah.
He worked on a 1 year deal every year, and at the end of the year they would renew him.
Okay.
1980.
Guess that keeps you from getting too comfortable.
It does, yeah, right.
1986, the Chicago Cubs' Greg Maddux defeats Phillies pitcher Mike Maddux. First time two rookie brothers face each other in Major League Baseball.
Rookies? They both were rookies at the same time. That's interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
1987, Don Mattingly hits his record 6th Grand Slam of the season. There are guys that don't have 6 Grand Slams in their career. 1994, the first phase of the O.J. murder trial jury selection ends. 304 are chosen. Who did you leave out at that point?
You and I.
Apparently. And in 2005, the Chicago White Sox clinched their first division title since 2000 and become just the 10th team in the history of baseball to be in first place on every day of the season. They would go on to win the World Series.
Wow, that's a great little tidbit there.
Everybody forgets about my team that year. It is National Coffee Day and National Mocha Day. So, coffee and chocolate coffee.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Kevin Durant, who's 34. Zachary Levi, 42. Calvin Johnson, 37. Andrew Dice Clay, 65. John Paxton, 62.
Oh, man. One of my favorites.
Bryant Gumbel, 74. Steve Busby, 73. And if you collected baseball cards in the late 80s, early 90s, you'll remember this name very well. Rob Deere, 62. I think I had 100 of his
Because
cards.
every one of his cards, yeah.
And on this day in 1982, flight attendant Paula Prince buys a bottle of cyanide-laced Tylenol. She was found dead on October 1st, becoming the final victim of the mysterious ailment in Chicago, Illinois. Over the previous few days, 6 other people had died of the unknown cause in northwest Chicago. The serial killer was never caught. However, it would lead to the new tamper-proof medicine containers. So the next time you can't open up your bottle of medicine, you know there's no cyanide in it.
Right.
It's good.
And that's
good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's this day in sports history.
6:51 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thanks for that, Mr. McGuire. And thanks for the Willie Mays catch on this day in history. And that was a World Series game. And we're not even to October yet.
Yeah, you said it was game 1. Still has to go down as probably the greatest catch in World Series history.
That's what some say. Yep. That's
How
what
could you argue it?
No, I agree.
Running away from the hit, catches it over his shoulder, and then immediately stands up and throws it in to make sure the runner can't advance.
The runner on second base was Larry Doby, who was the second black player in the history of baseball and the first in the American League. Larry Doby was also the second black manager in baseball because he went to the Cleveland Indians. But the thought was that if he had tagged up when the catch was made, he would have been able to get to third. But because of the fact that he didn't, he had to scramble to get back
to second. Yeah. And probably the right play there is to be halfway. Probably, just because you don't expect that amazing of a catch, and once it drops, you want to be able to score. And if you're on with your foot on the base, you're probably not going to score. Probably.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Jeff, I mean, there's been better catches in the history of baseball, and just not in a World Series game.
That's my point.
Yeah, I mean, you'd take Jim Edmonds go running away from home plate and diving and making that catch. That's a better catch. Or the one for the Rangers, Matthews Jr.,
up over the wall
with his back to the infield. Those were better catches, in my opinion, than Willie Mays. Just neither one of them happened in the World Series.
There was one in the 70s. I think it was 70. It was either 73 or 74. Joe Rudy catches one in the left field wall in the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. It was a day game, and it was just the catch and the moment of it was spectacular in left field. Supposedly,
I thought Jeffrey Mayer's catch in the postseason was pretty dang good too. Come on, Tony Tarasco, make a play.
The pitcher that day for the Giants was Don Little, and supposedly after the Mays catch, Leo DeRocha takes him out, and the next guy that comes in is a guy named Marv Grissom. The only thing that matters there is supposedly Little said to Grissom, "I got my man out." Well, I got my man. Yeah, thanks to Willie Mays. Okay, let's see here. The months of the year with Chuck Hines. Thanks for the refresher, Chief. You're welcome. Good morning, guys. Hey, Chuck, do you talk to yourself in the grocery store? I do. Make sure I'm checking off everything that I'm supposed to get. Lord, the things that come out of his mouth. SMH, shaking my head. Okay. But, we're making
Could have been of any of the three of us that he was talking about.
Good Rolex is $25K, not $1K. Okay, thank you for that. Maybe in other parts of the country, knockoff would be less. Somebody said you're short on the Rolex cost. So anyway, somebody wants to know, will it be a sellout in Manhattan Saturday? Yes, I believe so.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started.
That's me, man.
Wow.
Highly,
impressive.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
I'm like the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Because your kids don't want mums?
My oldest is a senior, and I think we made it through without paying for a single mom.
Well, isn't the guy supposed to pay for the mom?
Oh, I don't know.
From Double T 97.3.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Hines. Nice to have you with us. We will have Red Raider football with Joey McGuire tonight at 6. Then the Rangers and Seattle will conclude their series tonight. That'll be at 8 o'clock. Rangers then will move on to the Big A and Anaheim to take on the Los Angeles Angels. Over the weekend, we'll have Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. All 3 games on Double T 97.3. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, and you can participate too. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. And chat away. Bullfighter says this. Chatline coaches just turned into chatline mechanics. A number of people suggesting things to help Jamie with his lawnmower.
I appreciate everybody's help.
Yeah.
A lot of good suggestions there, and that's valuable for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up yet. So take this computer here home with me, and I'll be out in the backyard trying to figure it out this afternoon. After I get some tennis in. I mean, there are priorities.
Might be flooded. Clean that air filter. And then somebody has a sports question here. Does Tech win this weekend? I think so.
Got right there in the middle of the lawnmower fixer questions.
Pour the gasoline out up and let some drain out. Could be bad gas. You have a concrete alley, so you can't just pour it in your alley.
Correct.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I think even if you don't have a concrete alley, I don't think you're supposed to just dump gas out anywhere.
It's only about a gallon or so. It's not a big problem. Eventually goes away. A little bit of a smell for a period of time, but it's from what I understand. Clay says this.
Allegedly.
From offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches to lawnmower mechanics. Talented bunch, yes.
No doubt.
Yes. All right, Coach McGuire, he'll be on the air tonight. I don't know that he'll be asked these questions, and it takes a special person to ask these kind of questions, Jamie. But I am here to help, okay?
Does it?
Because sometimes I'm just curious, and I think usually I'm the guy. Whether it's like it could be a seminar on something, it could be when the kids were in school and there was a question with regard to the grading scale or how things were done, and all the minds are wondering and nobody wants to be the person to ask the question, and I've been known to not have any shame in asking a question, and so I like to ask those questions that everybody wants to know the answer on, but nobody wants to be the person to ask that question. Okay?
I'm going to let you believe that.
Okay. So, Coach McGuire, they went for it 8 times on 4th down. They were successful 6 out of 8 times. And I think it's pretty obvious who's making that decision, but I wanted to know about that decision and how that's made. And so here's Coach McGuire on who decides to go for it on 4th down for the Red Raiders.
No, I have the last say. It's a decision by committee. But we know going into every single drive where we're at. Like literally it starts out, hey, here's the magic number. And so we know before we ever start that drive. And then it changes after every first down, and of course, once you get to the 50 and past the 50, then it gets a lot more aggressive. And all that takes into account, like how much time's left in the game, where you're at in the game, what's the score in the game. And so you're really talking through the situations as soon as Kitley's sitting there, he knows wherever the ball, he starts that drive, that he knows the first magic number, and then it goes from there.
And I think that's the thing that I found the most interesting is that they're thinking about that, or at least have that in their mind almost from the very beginning, from first down on, of what they need to do if they're going to go for it. And then once you get to the 50, you're even more aggressive, as we saw on Saturday when they went for it on 4th and 3 at the 50.
Yeah, depending where you are on the field, you're going to change that. Meaning if you're in your own end, it better be 4th and inches. But if it's, at the opponent's 20, then 4th and 4 is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then here's kind of the oddball question that I asked the other day, because I was just curious about this, and I've been curious about this, and I was kind of saving it for a rainy day, and it seemed like Monday seemed like a good day to ask this question, and I didn't really get the answer that I was looking for, but we'll see what you think. So I asked, like, when he's watching a game at home, like live TV game, does he kind of look at that from how he would handle those situations, and does that help him? Because you can see those coaches thinking on the sideline and how quickly the clock goes by. We at home, we're not under the pressure of trying to win or lose a ball game. And, we're making these decisions left and right. And I just kind of wondered, does he think about that, what he would do in those situations, and use that kind of as a means to kind of just think about his craft a little bit? And here's Coach McGuire on that.
Yeah, I've always tried to learn from, the best guys and the way they do things. I think that's big. I think the one thing that, it's happening in all sports. Baseball is probably the first, of course, because it's such a number-driven sport. But, the one thing of I thought the commentators did a great job on Saturday after I watched it back. I watched it Saturday night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and so I guess it was Sunday morning. Of understanding. I think a lot of times people are still in the past and have not studied what's going on in the game right now, so they're critical, but they don't understand the decision making that's happening in the time, and which is fine. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You have a philosophy and you stick with it, and that's everybody in that locker room is what matters. They believe in your philosophy. But I think it's really good, as we go through this, that commentators understand too, and it's really easy to figure out, who's going by what and who's an analytic team and who's not. And then, you can ask those questions on Friday whenever you meet. And then there's easily, it's not, once you get past the 50 and it's 4th and 3, it makes a lot of sense when you're going to go for it. So, you definitely can call the game that way, and so I think it makes a lot of sense.
So I thought the thing that was interesting there for me was the fact that he went back and watched the game and watched the commentators, and then felt like that they had done a good job of kind of communicating or talking about what it was like to go for all those times on 4th down.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting to hear. I wonder, I wasn't watching and listening on television, so it would be interesting to know what their take was on certain situations. And how many of the 8 did you disagree with? Did you think, we should do something different here?
Oh goodness, I think the one that I questioned the most is probably the one that you're the most confident in, was the one at the 50. With the game on the line.
I don't know that was the most confident, but I was definitely. I don't say confident like we're going to get this.
No.
I am like feeling it was the right decision.
Right, that's what I meant by that.
I'll just throw. There's 3 of them that I was not in favor of. Okay. The 2 at the goal line, or near the goal line. The 2 inside the 5. The 3 or the 4, wherever you were. I was not in favor of those. One worked for you, one did not. And the one where you went for it to start the third quarter, your own 40-ish yard line or whatever. And, and you didn't come up with it there. Okay?
Yeah, so I would agree with you on the certainly the one 4th and goal at the 1. I was for.
No, you weren't at the 1.
Or what?
You were at the 3 or 4.
Okay, so whatever. I was for
4th and 1. I would have changed my opinion.
I was for kicking a field goal there on the 4th and 3. Getting the points.
Both times I was for kicking a field goal.
Okay. And then the one that you talked about at the 40, your own 40, is that right?
It was somewhere around there. I don't know, 35, 40, 42.
Right in there. Yeah, and I would agree with you on that one.
The thing that you loved about Saturday was that both times where you didn't get it, your defense immediately made a play. And so clearly Coach McGuire has a lot of confidence in his defense to get that done. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. If your defense doesn't make a play in both of those drives, and immediately once you force a turnover on downs, the one where you gave it up at around your own 40, and then the other one you immediately force a 3 and out. If you don't do that and either of those lead to scores and you lose the game because of it, it's a completely different opinion for this city and this fan base about going for it on 4th down.
Absolutely.
It's a completely different opinion. Completely different.
Yeah.
But I 100% believe you don't win the game without being aggressive like he was. I just think there has to be a happy medium, and I think I'm confident that they'll find that. Okay. But we have to see. I mean, we'll just have to see. I think I am. And obviously, you can't make these kind of decisions without being confident in your defense. And it sure is fun to see a coach that has a defense that's worthy of him being confident in them.
And then the defense, paying it off for him as well, like you just said.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day.
But I bet you many of his coaches probably haven't. They're like, who is this? What is this Mayberry that you speak of, right?
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
Sign me up. Get your popcorn ready.
From Double T 97.3, Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
7:31 this morning and some change. I just realized my problem today, an hour and a half in. I know why I'm struggling.
Why's that?
I don't have my PIN. I can't talk without my PIN.
Okay.
So I'll get it here in a second.
And I think you had it right the first time. Isn't it week 4 of the NFL season? Aren't your Chiefs 2-1?
Yeah, you're right. Because it's week 5 with college and week 4 of the NFL. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Your question, sir.
All right. I got to thinking after Judge hits the historic home run last night about how cool it would be to be at his historic sporting events, right? Any of them, whether it be a baseball, football, basketball, whatever, hockey, whatever is you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Your answer can't be when your favorite team won, okay?
Okay.
All right, because we would all pick, I'd like to have been, you'd have wanted to have been at the Super Bowl that the Chiefs won or whatever, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So pick a sporting event that didn't involve your favorite team.
Mm-hmm.
What historic sporting event would you have loved to have been at?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So the question is, do I want it as an adult or do I want it as my youth?
No, the question is, what is it? You are going right now. You would be you sitting there in the stands with what you know about it right now.
Which one would you have loved to have been at?
Yeah, which one would you have loved to have been at? So it could be one like, when you're an adult or when you're a kid. There's the longer that you are in this world, the longer that you see historic events. You follow me?
Yes. I don't know that it matters. Like the one in my mind, I wasn't even alive for.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Perfect game in the World Series.
Don Larson?
Yeah.
Okay, so
you're getting a World Series game. You're getting a perfect game, and one of the best pitch games in playoff history, all in one nice little bow. And I'm not a Yankees fan. I don't hate the Yankees like other people do, but that would have been an amazing thing to be at the entire game.
So a couple things come into my mind. I would have probably loved to have been in Atlanta when Henry Aaron hit 715. That'd been pretty cool.
Sure.
Pittsburgh when Franco gets the immaculate reception.
Oh, see, that's a really good one.
That would have been cool because that's an unplanned one right there because you don't know. That's a historic event.
I think the unplanned ones are part of what makes it really, really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe gives it a leg up.
Yeah. Not a sporting event, but I would have loved to have seen Muhammad Ali light the torch in Atlanta.
Okay.
Kind of have an Atlanta kind of slant today.
Ali beating Frazier would have been cool.
Yeah, back in the day.
Now, granted, that was built up to be a huge event, but the throwing the punch that was never thrown like that at that match.
Probably would have been cool to see the 83 National Basketball Championship over in Albuquerque at the Pit with NC State beating Houston because that was, basically I think everybody went into that game thinking that Houston was just going to clobber NC State.
Okay.
But Derek Whittenberg and Lorenzo Charles had something else to say about that, and Jim Valvano.
USA Russia 1980.
Yeah. Yeah,
Somebody on the chat line says Miracle on Ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going college football for mine. I mean, I would have loved to have been at the Kick Six.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
just a huge hated rivalry. That place was, it was at Auburn, but, there was tons of Alabama fans. To hear the Auburn crowd and to be a part of, you would have just been sitting there going, what in the world just happened? did that really just happen? To see the crowd go from, we're worried that Alabama's going to make this field goal and beat us on the last play,
Sure.
and how much we hate the thought of that, to, oh my goodness, we just pulled off the coolest thing in the history
Right.
of college football. I just think to be there would have been crazy in that atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been just amazing.
Yeah, no, I think that's. I think you're right about that. That's pretty cool. Anything else come to your mind, Jeff, off the top of it? A couple things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I'd love to have been at the 2019 Masters to see Tiger win. Okay. Michael from the Ranch would love to have been to the 93 Orange Bowl and see if Florida State and Coach Bobby Bowden win their first national championship. Syntex Hank says Super Bowl III when the Jets beat the Colts for the first AFL win in the Super Bowl.
It would have been cool to see Joe Carter hit the touch 'em all, Joe.
Yeah, yeah. No question. That would have been
The
pretty
only
cool.
walk-off World Series, right?
Bill Mazeroski did it in 1960. That was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Only two, though.
Only two. Mazeroski's was Game 6, and I think Joe Carter's was Mazeroski was Game 7.
Yeah.
Carter was Joe 6.
Yeah.
It was Game 6. But that would have been cool to see that. Have you ever seen a no-hitter?
I've not.
Okay. Jeff brought up the perfect game, obviously. The only one in the World Series. Somebody says Babe Ruth calling a shot. Somebody says Bird versus Magic in the NCAA finals. That was a good
Oh,
one.
man, that would have been awesome.
79.
Especially knowing what they both turned into.
Yeah, and
God,
then,
that would have been cool.
and then how that kind of changed two things. That game and that season, those guys changed really two perspectives, because it brought huge limelight onto the NCAA tournament, right? Mm-hmm. With Indiana State getting to the national championship game, and obviously the talent of Bird and then Magic. And then when they went to the NBA, they basically helped save the NBA.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
couple things there for them. That was pretty cool. Somebody says somebody had said, I think, yeah, Lady Raiders. So I thought that was on here somewhere. Would have enjoyed seeing Mike Tyson being knocked out by Buster Douglas. That from Flyover Guy. Lady Raider National Championship game. Number of people here. Somebody says Crabtree 08. Okay, that wasn't at the game.
Yeah. Well, we said, I mean, for the Lady Raider and the Crabtree one, we said it couldn't be your favorite team.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Bo says,
Because we would all just pick our team's favorite greatest game or whatever.
Sure. No, that's a good question. 7:38 this morning here on the morning drive. If you have a thought on that. Jamie, our stats from the World Series. Oh, that's just something different. Didn't plan it, but went to the Seahawks and Cowboys. Emmitt Smith set the rushing record.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Okay. If you have a thought on that, hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, or the mobile app. Benchmark hotline is open too at 806-771-0973.
How about being at the Garden when Reggie had the 8 points or whatever and 25 seconds and went from the Pacers losing that game to the Pacers silencing the Knicks and their fans? And I was not a huge Reggie Miller fan, but that would have been fun to watch.
That would have been fun to watch.
Again, like mine, it's partially about like just feeling the atmosphere of the crowd and how incredibly insane it would have gone, either positive or negative. That to me factors into what would have made it really cool.
I was at the 86 national championship game, Louisville and Duke, when Never Nervous Purvis Ellison and Louisville won the national championship over a Mike Krzyzewski and Duke team. That was his first Final Four team. Jay Billis was on that team. Somebody says Bob Knight kicking the chair. Throwing the chair, actually. Yeah, Tom Brady being down 28-3 in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that'd have been pretty cool. That was a historic comeback, no question. All right, Boom 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 is next here this morning. Continue to hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll pass along your thoughts as well. The historic game that you didn't go to, that you would have liked to have gone to, that didn't involve your team. Okay?
Big plays and even bigger laughs.
If they get 7 out of those 2 things, game over. You're not winning that game at all.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
Basketball players who don't wear the
Same shoes.
The shoes that
Right.
match the uniform.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Match the color scheme of the team they play for.
From Double T 97.3.
The Red Raider football team will be in Manhattan, Kansas. They'll leave for the Little Apple tomorrow and play there with a kickoff at 11 a.m. Our Optimum Game Day Live coverage begins at 7 a.m. It's presented by United Supermarkets Saturday morning, starting things off with the Saturday morning quarterback. The host of that program, Garrett Luft. We did get an update from him yesterday with regard to his traffic situation with the city of Lubbock. He reported to us that they didn't throw it out, but did reduce it to unsafe speed. But they are still going to court, and it will be a jury trial. So he's doubling down. I'd love to be on that jury. I would have to disclose that I work with him.
So speeding ticket is one thing. That's what he got, right?
Yeah.
But unsafe speed
Yeah, I don't know
is
what
not
that-
as bad.
Apparently, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is they
What is the difference?
Okay, so this is not what it was, but let's say there's ice, bad conditions, and you're doing 40 on the loop.
Okay.
That can be unsafe, but you weren't speeding.
But you weren't speeding. Okay. Well, I mean, was it raining?
No, it was. It's
What?
just a different charge.
No.
but
Okay, I get
that's where it can be.
I get that,
different.
but how does that come into play? With
I don't know
Garrett's
how this came
situation?
into play. I don't know how this one came into a play, but that's how you can get unsafe speed without speeding, in one way.
Okay.
But he's still going to a court, and it's going to be a jury trial. It seems like now it's become a quest. It's become like, okay, I'm gonna exhaust all my, opportunities here, everything that I can do to try to make this go away. Sounds to me this is the equivalent of your lawnmower problem. Just write your check and make it go away. Go get yourself a new lawnmower, make it go away. That to me, that this could be resolved with writing checks pretty easily.
Can't be buying a new lawnmower, Chuck.
I know I'm spending
You know
other
how many
people's money.
tennis tournaments that would pay for? Basketball camps? There are things that are more important,
Right.
Chuck. Do I really need to mow the lawn?
I don't know. I guess so. I guess you can.
I love living in the wilderness. Maybe it would feel a little bit more
Right.
like
Right.
being in the woods.
Right.
You think I can convince Miss Lent of this? Mrs. Lent of this?
Yeah, I think so, because all you'd have to do is say, drive her over to some neighborhood where they don't mow their yards and say, this is what our house is going to look like.
Okay.
Okay. If we don't get a new lawnmower.
No. I was trying to convince her that we didn't need to mow the lawn.
Oh, that would, yeah. Oh, then I wouldn't drive her anywhere then. Maybe take her to, just bring in a bunch of rock and zero-scape it.
Yeah, I'm just not that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not that guy either.
Yeah.
I have no grass in my backyard, but I've got, patches of grass in my front yard. It does take a little bit longer to mow my yard than
Patches of grass.
Well, I mean, there's a thing here, and there's a thing here, and there's a thing here.
Yeah, and you've got to
you
wait till it rains.
And if you didn't have some lawn in the front yard, how would you show off that physique with yours,
Right.
Chuck?
No, that's right. That's right. I think I'm going to tear up the Circle Drive and put in more grass so that we can, so I can spend more time in the front yard showing off that physique.
You should do that. Where are you going to put the cars then? Since you have other
It's a good problem.
other things in the garage.
It's a good. Somebody wants to know what kind of lawnmower you're buying. He said, "What kind of lawnmower are we buying?"
Everything at my house, all my tools are Craftsman.
Yeah.
So it'll be a Craftsman lawnmower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jamie, get
It's
a
red
goat.
and black, man. It's all got to match.
Okay, I got a Toyota. It's red. It's the all red. Clay wants to know who is taking a ticket to a jury trial. I missed out. Garrett Luft
Yeah.
is doing that. I think he makes no bones about it, man. He's full throttle up. He is full throttle up on this, right? All right, Texas Tech takes on number 25, Kansas State. Red Raiders looking to break a 6-game losing streak. What is your percentage of confidence in this? Is it in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 30s, 20s?
Same as it was yesterday.
Okay.
I'm about 45.
45, okay. All right. Jeff, you in the 45 range or you above 50?
I bet Jeff's lower than me.
Yeah.
He's always fearful of Kansas State.
0-6, man. That's last 6 years. 2 head coaches ago was your last win against these guys. And it's always the team that you look at that you should beat. Like every Red Raider fan looks at this game. Oh, we should beat Kansas State.
Yeah.
And then 0-6, you don't. 25-30.
Wow, it's way
25.
Yeah, it's because it's the purple. It scares me. I don't know why. I don't have a rational reason other than 0-6.
Choice Woodman and Jeff Haxton had this conversation yesterday on the end of the bench.
No, they didn't. It was me and Haxton.
Okay. Jeff McGuire and Jeff Haxton had this conversation, but I think Choice had it as well, I think, with Mike Gustafson yesterday.
That may have happened, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, the bottom line is...
Not always accurate.
Not always fair. Just try to be entertaining.
Right. But anyway, the point that they had was, and I have to be out of this conversation, is why don't we as a fan base have more hate for K-State given how much they have beaten us? 10 of 11, last 6 straight. Wildcats lead the all-time series 13-9. But again, you've lost 10 of your last 11 in your last 6 straight. Why isn't there more hate for this team, this school, this program? Because they beat us nicely? I mean...
I think it has to do with their fan base doesn't annoy us.
Okay.
It's fair. It's a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean...
Did you come up with any reasons, Jeff?
They have generally won the right way. They don't rub your face in it as a fan base like other fan bases do. At times, so does Texas Tech, for that matter, rubbing a win in somebody's face. They emulated their former head coach, and that feeling for that team continues forward. Mm-hmm. They don't beat themselves. They just go out there and win football games. They're not...
It's all very fair.
They are the San Antonio Spurs of the Big 12 when it comes to just going out there and doing what they do better than everybody else does. You have to respect what they do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in there. They're not shoving it in your face. They're not. You don't see them doing taunting in any way, shape, or form. They're about as far away from that as possible. But it's just, of all the other teams in the Big 12, I'd rather Kansas State win it than if it can't be Tech.
Mm-hmm. They do have that. Remember, they do have that annoying sound after every first down. The power cat. And that's not even doing justice to it.
For a long time when I lived in East Texas, I found myself rooting for the Longhorns because I couldn't stand the Aggie fans so much. So it was like I wanted to see the Aggie fans disappointed when the Longhorns won.
Okay.
So maybe as a fan base, we just don't hate Kansas State because they're the enemy of Kansas.
Yeah.
I think that factors in with me.
This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. It really, in all caps, bothers Chuck and Clint that Texas Tech doesn't hate KSU the way they do. And KSU is not approved to say KSU, just so you know. You're not supposed to say KSU, according to their media people.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I think it's KSU that they're not real happy with. Anyway.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.